The Whaley House haunting. In the heart of San Diego's historic Old Town stands a house that has earned a chilling reputation, the Whaley House. Built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, this grand structure was once the center of social life, but what most people don't know is that the Whaley House was built on cursed ground, the site of a former gallows where criminals were hanged. One such man was Yankee Jim Robinson, a notorious thief who met his end by the noose right where the Whaley family home would eventually stand. Yankee Jim's spirit, it seems, never left. From the moment the Whaley family moved into the home, strange events began to occur. Footsteps, heavy, slow, and deliberate, echoed through the house, especially along the staircase. Thomas Whaley himself, a skeptic of the supernatural, admitted hearing them. He described the sound as though someone were walking toward their final judgment, the same steps Yankee Jim had taken to the gallows. As the years passed, the haunting grew more intense. The Whaley family suffered tragedy after tragedy within the house. Several family members died of illness, a young child passed away, and one of the daughters, Violet, took her own life after a failed marriage, plunging the home further into despair. Visitors to the Whaley House today report seeing figures dressed in 19th century clothing. One of the most commonly seen spirits is that of Thomas Whaley himself, appearing at the top of the stairs dressed in his formal frock coat, as though still guarding his home. In the parlor, where his wife Anna spent many lonely years, her ghost is said to linger, staring at nothing, as if lost in time. But the most chilling reports come from those who say they've seen a small child running through the halls, only to vanish when approached. Could it be the spirit of the Whaley infant who died so young, or perhaps another lost soul bound to the house by its dark history? For those brave enough to visit, the Whaley House is open to the public. But be warned, many leave with a feeling they can't quite shake, as if the past.
Just outside the city of San Diego lies a desolate stretch of road known as Proctor Valley Road. By day, it seems unremarkable, a lonely rural path winding through the backcountry. But once the sun sets, the road takes on an entirely different character. Locals have whispered for years about a ghostly figure who haunts this road, a figure known only as the Woman in White. Legend has it that many years ago, a young woman was driving along Proctor Valley Road when she lost control of her car and crashed, dying on impact. Some say she was fleeing a troubled relationship. Others believe she was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whatever the truth, her spirit now wanders the road, seeking something or someone she can never find. There are countless stories from those who have encountered her. One night, a young couple was driving down the road when their car mysteriously stalled. Stranded in the middle of nowhere, they decided to wait for it to cool down. But as the hours dragged on, an unsettling feeling crept over them. The woman in the passenger seat glanced into the side mirror and froze. Behind the car, barely visible in the dim light, was the figure of a woman. She wore a long white dress, her hair hanging over her face, and she was walking slowly toward the car. Panicked, the couple tried to start the engine, but it wouldn't budge. The figure grew closer, her movements jerky and unnatural. The woman in the car began to cry as her boyfriend frantically turned the key, but it was no use. The woman in white reached the back of the car, and as she raised her hand to touch the window, the engine roared to life. The couple sped off, never daring to look back. They later found out that many others had experienced the same chilling encounter. Some had even seen the woman vanish into thin air. Today, Proctor Valley Road remains a place that locals avoid at night. They say if you see the woman in white, she's not just there to scare you, she's looking for someone to join her in her eternal journey.
The Mar Fairgrounds, known for its annual county fair, horse racing, and lively atmosphere, holds a darker history that few know about. During World War II, the fairgrounds were used as a military base and a temporary holding facility for Japanese Americans who were being relocated to internment camps. The trauma and sorrow of those days have left a scar on the location, one that seems to manifest in the form of ghostly apparitions. Nighttime security guards often report unsettling events once the crowds are gone. In the dead of night, When the grandstands are empty, they hear the distant sounds of marching boots, footsteps that seem to echo from the past. One night, a guard patrolling the area near the stables noticed a man standing in the shadows. Thinking it was a homeless person, he approached the figure, calling out to him. But as he drew closer, the figure simply disappeared, leaving nothing but silence in its wake. Another guard had an even more chilling encounter. While making his rounds near the exhibit halls, he heard a woman's voice calling his name. Startled, he turned, expecting to see a co-worker. But no one was there. The voice called again, this time louder, more insistent, as if coming from just around the corner. The guard followed the voice, but each time he thought he was getting closer, the voice would move further away, leading him deeper into the empty fairgrounds. Finally, he reached a dead end. The voice stopped, and all he could hear was the sound of his own breathing. As he turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of a shadow moving across the wall, too fast to be human. The fairgrounds were empty, but he knew he wasn't alone. Some believed the spirits of those who were detained during the war still linger at the Mar Fairgrounds, their unrest never fully resolved. And while the fairgrounds remain a lively place during the day, once night falls, it becomes a ghostly reminder of a darker time in history.
More chilling tales await. Hit subscribe and make sure you're here when the next dark wave crashes.